Hi, this is Priyanka, and I welcome you all to Srijan Wednesday webinars. For those who are attending for the first time, this is a community initiative by Srijan Technologies. As a part of this initiative, we will host webinars every alternate Wednesday. We will have speakers from different domains who will talk about subjects like UI/UX, front-end technologies, mobile apps, media, entrepreneurship, community building, digital marketing, and many more. Today we have Pradeep Chopra with us. Pradeep has been a serial entrepreneur for last 13 years and currently he is co-founder and CEO of Digital Vidya, India's premier digital marketing training company. He also sits on the advisory board of Social Media Chambers Malaysia. In the first 45 minutes, Pradeep will be talking about digital marketing for customer acquisition and how you can leverage digital marketing for lead generation and online sales. The last 15 minutes will be for a Q&A sessions. You can ask questions either by speaking into your microphone or by typing into the chat box. So over to you, Pradeep.
Thanks, Priyanka. Hi everyone, and very good afternoon for all of you who are in India. I hope some of you are outside, if you are outside any of the other nation. So respectively, I want to thank you. Thanks, Srijan, for giving me the opportunity to share about my experience, about the work we are doing at Digital Vidya in helping others leverage digital marketing. As Priyanka shared, the title of this session today is Digital Marketing for Customer Acquisition. To give you a very brief background about how I got into digital marketing, and that will help us as we move forward in this webinar, is we started our first business way back in 2000, and we created a product we wanted to sell. And the only thing we knew at that point of time was that we would sell through, it was an educational product, we would sell through various training institutes. And we tried really hard and miserably failed doing that. While we were doing that, we accidentally touched upon search engine optimization, which is one of the earliest entrants within digital marketing. And we could use that to, sell our first product to someone in US sitting here in India 13 years back. And since then, we've been using digital marketing for all the businesses we've been doing. And at Digital Vidya for the last 4 years, we've been helping others, entrepreneurs, professionals, business owners to understand and leverage this medium through various kinds of digital marketing training programs, right? So without taking much time, I'll directly get into creating the agenda once again. We've just started with a quick introduction. We'll be getting into a very brief about what is digital marketing for some of you who may be completely new to the subject. I will be sharing with you a framework which you can really use to multiply your revenue. So fundamentally what people do is the focus in digital marketing is largely limited to increasing traffic. While traffic is important, it's necessary, but that's not sufficient when you want to achieve an ultimate objective of maybe an online sales, maybe generating leads or something else. So what is important is to have an end-to-end look. And I will be sharing with you, if you do that, how much impact in terms of really multiplying your revenue can happen. We'll be doing a quick exercise on putting the learning into action through this online advertising strategy for lead generation. And as Priyanka shared earlier, we'll have a Q&A towards the end, right? So what is digital marketing? There could be different answers and there is no final or, the right answer. But if I were to describe it briefly, the process of reaching out to and engaging with your customers, users through digital media is digital marketing. And one of the things, if you notice the way it's written here, is engaging with is highlighted. And that's what really became possible because of social media when it became part of, overall digital marketing. So after the entry of social media, you could really get an opportunity to deeply engage with your customers, with your users. And also to share with you, because a lot of people use the terms interchangeably and incorrectly, digital marketing is an umbrella term. And there are various other avenues within digital marketing like search engine optimization and social media. So when you search, let's look into search as a first aspect within digital marketing. When you search on a keyword on a search engine, say like digital marketing, you will see different kinds of results. The results which are on the top, the results which are on the right, the results which are at the center, and the results which are at the bottom. And those of you who are not aware, the results which are the main search results of a search engine are function of search engine optimization, or it's called organic search, or also called natural search. And there is no money you can pay to a search engine to influence the rankings. It has to be done through various techniques to get your ranking naturally. That's why it's called natural search. While the others which are on the top, right, and the bottom are function of search engine marketing, SEM, Google Adwords, or PPC or CPC. Those are the different terms being used for online advertising and such. So as the name, SEM stands for, when people say SEM, technically it could mean, you may want to technically equate it to SEO as well, but in the world of digital, SEM largely represents paid part of search. And PPC, as the name says, it's pay per click. And when Google came up with the idea of this model, and before Google actually it was Overture which came up earlier, but Google completely transformed the way advertising started to happen online, because you pay to a search engine when only someone is clicking on your ad, not when someone is seeing your ad. So it really brought performance into the whole space of advertising. And till today, a majority of Google's revenue comes through this. Then social media, maybe around, it's been 10 years. Facebook is also into existence now. It completed 10 years yesterday. But I would say in India, especially last 5 years, social media has tried to take action, and every year there is this next level of growth happening. So fundamentally, promoting your product service through social media is social media marketing, and social media includes hundreds of platforms. While we largely talk about YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and maybe SlideShare, but there are numbers of channels. There are subject-focused social networks, there are location-focused social networks, and if you use them to promote your product, you are fundamentally doing social media marketing. To give you a little perspective and distinction of how social media, which is a part of digital marketing, is little distinct than other parts, I will use this slide to communicate. So you have your website as an online presence, and initially you were doing search engine optimization to drive traffic to your website. Then you started doing advertising, which could be a banner advertising or on search to drive traffic again. You could also run email marketing campaigns or run ads on mobile as well, again to drive traffic to your website. And you do social media. Now you would notice that there is some difference in the way social media is presented here compared to other aspects within digital marketing. And if you were to identify why is this difference, it's because while rest of the channels are largely, or the primary approach is to drive traffic, social media does not necessarily mean that. For example, you may engage people on Facebook itself. You may engage people on Twitter alone to fulfill your marketing objective. You may drive traffic, but that may not be the necessary case. And especially when it comes to engagement, you want to engage with your audience, people are more comfortable on the channel on which they are present rather than you trying to divert them. You can still run ads to drive people directly from Facebook to your site, and if the communication is consistent to that, that's perfectly fine. But in a lot of cases, when you are looking at engaging with your customers, they are most comfortable when they are on the medium like Facebook or Twitter or even LinkedIn. So I think that's one distinction which is very important, because typically one of the mistakes people do is, especially the people who were doing other forms of online marketing or digital marketing earlier, they started treating social media in the same way, and then they started to figure out that it's not working, and that's one of the key reasons, right? Let's learn from some real examples. I'm not sure how many of you know what remarketing is, but I'm sure most of you would have experienced it. So to give you an example of what I mean by remarketing, this is my personal example. So I was going to IIM Raipur for a workshop there for their students, and a day before I was looking for booking a flight. I booked on. I went to the website on Ibibo and looked at the price, and I was about to complete the transaction, but finally I saw there was additional price towards the end, and I did not do the transaction. Within 15 minutes of that, while I was on another website, I saw this banner from Ibibo, and if you notice, it says New Delhi to Raipur, the price, and if you notice underneath, there is a discount of 700 rupees, which was not available there. So Ibibo could get that I was on their website but didn't complete the transaction, and they wanted to see if I can still complete that transaction. So they offered me additional discount. And remarketing is not just on Google, even on Facebook. I saw, within 20 minutes of that, I started to see the ads of Ibibo, and that's specific as Delhi to Raipur. So I'm sure now you might have recalled some of the instances that you visited a website and then you are on other websites and you are seeing the ad from the site you visited earlier. And that's ad is very much personalized like this. That's how remarketing works. And fundamentally, technically, when you have visited a website on your web browser, there is a cookie which gets placed, which is used to track you when you are on other sites, and accordingly an ad is served. And depending upon which sections of the site you visited earlier, an ad can be customized and it can be dynamically created. No one created this ad manually. So you can dynamically create ads to personalize and then target people, and it has significantly helped a lot of companies both in e-commerce and otherwise to complete the transaction. And the transaction could be not just a final conversion, it could also be a lead generation. So remarketing is very, very popular and increasingly becoming important for businesses of all types across all verticals. Then to share some of other examples, real case studies. This is a Facebook's official case study about Kaya Skin Clinic. They use Facebook in terms of Facebook page, Facebook advertising, and according to this case study, official Facebook case study says that over 20% of the entire sales originate through Facebook. While they have a local retail clinics where the final customer would come and do the transaction, but 20% of their entire sales originate through Facebook. That's a huge number, and for a business like Kaya Skin Clinic. So Facebook, especially today, Facebook advertising can be really very, very effective because of the targeting, and I will share more details about that a little later. So I think if they can use it to make that much impact, all of us can do it. This was another official Facebook case study about an event which was a very localized event. It happened in Mumbai. It was a musical event, and they had done television, they had done radio, they had done outdoor, and they had done Facebook. And Facebook drove more ticket buyers than the rest of the campaigns they did, and they had 30 times ROI of their Facebook ads, over 10,000 tickets sold. So given you can target people so specifically on Facebook, Facebook advertising can be very, very effective. SEO, to talk one of the examples, of course, there would be numerous examples of companies who have done really well in SEO. One company I know very well and I would love to talk about is Car Dekho. I'm sure many of you would have heard about Car Wale, and some of you I'm sure would have also heard about Car Dekho by now. But Car Wale as a brand is stronger, more popular compared to Car Dekho. But in terms of the reach, Car Dekho is even ahead. And the major difference, if you know, Car Wale has raised a series of funding, I think more than $12 million, and Car Dekho hasn't raised even 1 rupee. And the reason for Car Dekho, now they have raised, just I think 2 months back they have raised around $15 million. The reason for Car Dekho's success compared to their competition is their ability to do SEO really well. So they have used content to create enormous reach for themselves, which has converted to a significant amount of revenue and having very high profitability. And fortunately, someone who runs Car Dekho is my classmate. So I know a lot through him, and I know they've done extremely great job in leveraging SEO for all of their businesses. So they're based out of Jaipur and have been extremely successful in using SEO well. So if you want to learn from some of the companies in India, they would be definitely one company or one website you would want to look at when you're looking at using search engine optimization. As I shared earlier in the beginning of my presentation, that when people look at digital marketing, whether it's SEO or SEM or email, most of the times our focus is on increasing traffic or increasing reach, which definitely is important, but that is not sufficient because you need to have an end-to-end view. So to give you a framework, I think, which will help you relook at the way you are currently thinking or doing digital marketing is looking into all of these aspects. So one of the aspects which, as I shared, all of us focus on is the reach. So you may do SEO, you may run ads, you may do email or social media to reach out to more of your target audience. Now, once you reach out to them, you can do many things. One is you get them to your online presence like your website, or you aggregate them on a platform, say like Twitter or a Facebook or a discussion forum. And you can also, from your website, then aggregate them over a newsletter, over a Facebook or over Twitter. And once you have aggregated them, or they were on your website, you can convert them to leads. And by lead, I mean someone who has filled a form for a product or service you are selling, and they have shared their contact details. And once lead is generated, you convert them to a final customer. And that lead to sale may happen online, it may happen offline. And even then, there is a lot digital marketing can play even if the lead to sale happen offline, because there's a whole concept of drip email marketing. That means, so typically what happens is a lead comes, your sales team call them, and then they find out that the person is not interested. So most of the time that lead gets left out. But if you can run a series of nurturing mailers or drip email marketing, you don't know. Over a period of time they get converted. So today technology allows you to convert your leads to sales over a long period of time by thinking and executing those campaigns which you can design based on the actions people will take. And I'll share one example of that as well. And if you see in all of these phases, there is conversion, like from a reach to online presence, like how many people will come, from online presence to leads and leads to sales. There is always conversion optimization you're doing. And I'll be talking about one of the most effective elements of conversion optimization as landing page optimization as later part of this webinar. And end-to-end you need to measure, because if you're not measuring, you will not be able to improve. So if you look at the view of digital marketing as an ultimate objective of acquiring customers, and you give an end-to-end view and take care of all of these aspects, it will literally multiply your revenue. To give you one example of, as I shared about drip email marketing or nurturing the leads, an example of Kissmetrics. So Kissmetrics is an analytics tool. Once you sign up for their trial version, you will get a series of mails, like this is a welcome mail, which welcomes you, thank you, and then very briefly talk about what Kissmetrics can do. Then if you don't use Kissmetrics, it will send you another mail, to encourage you to start using the product, try the product. And then once you have started to try the product, it will give you how you can better use it. So there would be, they will be sharing various techniques, some of their own frameworks, so that you start using it. And will be sharing some of the content which they have done on the blog, so that you are effectively using. Because end of the day, if you have not used it, you are not going to convert to a final customers. And if you don't respond, there would be a final mail which would be coming from an individual, but it could be completely planned, though it looks like it has come manually to you. So depending upon what actions you take, like if you had tried the product, if you had not tried the product, if you started using the product, then not bought it, they can design, today tools and technology allow you to design those campaigns. And if you imagine if all of that is in your control, and if you are doing, lead generation at volume, it can significantly impact your overall value of those campaigns. To give you an example, though an hypothetical example, but it clearly demonstrates a point. So assuming you reach out to 10,000 people, right? First column is reach, and out of that 100 people converts to leads, and out of that 10 people converts to final customers. And assuming your revenue per customer is 10,000 rupees, it means you get 1 lakh rupee as revenue. Now, one of the things which all of us do is increase our reach. Assuming you increase your reach without reducing the quality of that reach, If you increase your reach say by 50%, you will expect 50% growth. You get 150 leads, 15 customers, and 1.5 lakh rupees sale. You get 50% growth. Now, the other opportunity, because of the targeting of the mediums, you may be reaching out to same number of people, but you have much targeted reach. Earlier, you were reaching out to everyone in India. Then you know that your target audience is in 4 cities, and then you say my target audience is largely men, and that too above 35. So if you can increase your effective reach, you may be reaching out to same number of people, but you can still see growth. You may, for the same number of people, you may get much higher leads in conversion, which would lead to higher sales and higher revenue. Then another thing, as I shared, was conversions, right? So for the same number of reach, if you can do conversion optimization like landing page optimization, you can increase number of leads. So in this case, you get 1,000 people. Out of that, you did landing page optimization to increase number of leads to say 150, then getting 15 sales and again 50% growth. Or you work on the lead to sale conversion. I share example of lead nurturing or drip email marketing. You got the same 100 leads out of 1,000 people, but this time you worked on a lead to sale conversion and you increased the number of sales out of the same number of leads, and that had an increase in the overall conversion. And assuming if you do all of that, you increase your reach, you got targeted reach, you improve reach to lead, and you improve lead to sale, you can literally, if you see, can multiply your revenue. And that's what some of the best businesses, more in US than in India, have been doing it. And that's what I said, that if you're looking at doing digital marketing, don't just look into increasing traffic. Even if you're doing just SEO, the value of SEO is a function of end-to-end treatment you give to that. And that's one thing which you would never be able to completely outsource to someone, even if you outsource SEO, right? So as I shared, we'll do an exercise about online advertising, strategy for lead generation. I'll set the context and then give you some time and even a worksheet to do that. But before that, I want to share some of the aspects of Google AdWords versus Facebook ads. Now, the AdWords, the way ad works on Google AdWords is you search for a keyword, then ad is shown. While on Facebook ad is more a push to you. So that's how Google AdWords are effective in terms of it's a more of a pull compared to Facebook, which is a push. So there is an intent, and then you have shown the ad. So the ads on Google are likely to be more effective in that context. However, Facebook has many more advantages which Google cannot offer. And the biggest is targeting. Because when you are on Facebook, Facebook knows a lot of information about you. Other than your location, it knows your age, it knows your gender, it knows your interest, it knows your education, it knows your profession, and more. So Facebook allows targeting to advertisers, which Google cannot. And that's the reason why it is, in many cases, even more effective than Google Ads. And even today, Google has become competitive, but Facebook is, increasingly becoming competitive. But still, a lot of people have not treated or taken Facebook ads seriously. So that's the reason Facebook has more early mover advantage today than Google, which Google had maybe 7 years back. So those are the fundamental differences and the reasons why one can be better than another. But there is no, fixed answer that Facebook ads are better or Google AdWords are better. Opportunity of targeting, as I shared, Facebook allows you to target people based on their age, location, gender, interest, relationship status, social connection on Facebook, like fans of a particular page, occupation, education, and even you can target people based on their email ID, phone number, or a profile ID or user ID. So if you have a database of email IDs of your prospects or customers or phone numbers, you can upload that, and Facebook allows you to target them as well. So this was an example, so there is a concept of custom audience through which you can upload the database of email IDs or phone numbers or UIDs, and then that email ID will be matched to the profile of the person, and only those people would be able to see your ad. And then you again have a cost per click model. That means out of those people who click on your ad, you only then pay to Facebook. So this was an example of health card I experienced. I was their customer, and then they used this custom audience to target me again. Or as I shared earlier, it allows you to target people based on multiple other interests, and interest could be defined in terms of specific keywords you choose. So there could be as many as more than 100 keywords you can choose. So you want to target people who have chief executive officer in their designation or in the content they write or the way they participate. Facebook does the matching. Or there are some predefined categories like people who access Facebook on mobile, on iOS or iPad or iPhone, even particular operating systems, or people who have family status with parent and children between this stage, or predefined categories like finance, real estate, small and medium businesses. So there are some defined interest like this and precise interest. Then you can target people, those who had visited your website earlier, like retargeting I shared earlier. That means someone who had visited your website earlier. Now when they are on Facebook, only those people will see your ad. So that's retargeting on Facebook. Facebook allows you to do that as well. And that can be very effective because you know that people who had visited your website earlier, they were definitely interested and you want to reach out to only them. So that is also possible, like Google Remarketing allows you. Right now, so that was about using ads to reach out to people and targeted reach you achieve. But once you reach out to them, you want them to convert to a lead. Now what happens is, there are two things you can do, right? One is once they've clicked on your ad, you take them to a normal website. Now when they come to your website, they may find your product interesting and they may say that, okay, I will come back. And typically what happens is they would have a very little recall about your brand, your product, because they got to know about you through an ad. So even if they were interested, they forgot about you and you don't have a way to reach out to them. So instead of taking them to a normal website, you design a specifically customized page, and that's what we call a landing page. Like in this case, we do a digital marketing master course, and when we are running an ad for keywords like say digital marketing course, we don't drive them to a normal website. We drive them to a page which is customized. And some of the important elements of a customized landing page are, one is, ultimate objective is you want them to come here, show interest, and if they're interested, they fill a form so that you can reach out to them even if they forgot. So you would have a form on a very, very visible position. So that's one aspect. Second is, you will not give them too many options. Even the logo is preferred if it is not linked, so that they have just two options. Either they fill the form or they close the page. You can give them a contact number or an email ID, which if they use, your job is done. Right? So you don't give them many options on the landing page. You have a visible form. Then can you give them an additional incentive or a reason to fill the form? Like it could be sharing a free guide, could be about a free demo, could be about webinar, so that they have an additional reason. Of course, make that reason relevant. Don't give them a box of chocolate if for a product like this digital marketing training, because then most of them would have filled the form only for chocolates. So it's important that the reason you are giving them to fill the form is relevant in the context of the product or service you are selling. So don't giving them too many options on the page, having a form at the visible position, giving them additional reason to fill the form are some of the key elements of a successful landing page. And of course, another element which is important is to quickly build credibility, because they had not heard about you before earlier. So can you get some testimonials, some client logos, some key facts about your organization or your product, because that will give them trust that, hey, this is a credible organization, I can share my details with them. So all those four elements in terms of improving conversion on landing page really work. And believe me, if you're doing that, you would see not a percentage increase in a visitor to lead conversion, but really you can multiply the conversion from a visitor to lead, right? So what I'll do is I'll give you some time for you to download this worksheet and put some of the learning I have shared to create your own lead generation strategy for the advertising campaign. So what you can do is you can download this worksheet from this URL. This is a shortened customized URL. It is bit.ly/dv-lg. So bit.ly/dv-lg. Maybe Priyanka, if you're there, you can share this URL with them through the questions panel or the chat panel, and they would be able to get that link directly. So on this link, what you would be able to see is you will be able to download a worksheet, and that worksheet will allow you to answer what all I have shared in the form of different questions, like starting with what are your objectives. Because if your objective is lead generation versus online sales versus customer engagement, your approach would vary. Of course, here we are talking of a lead generation campaign, so it would be lead generation or our final sales. Then who is your target audience? Because then you would need to target them. So target audience is another element which is important for you to define, because that will give you idea about how would you be able to target them through an advertising campaign. Then is what are the key elements of landing page, like what additional incentive will you give to the users to fill the form? What is the credibility parameters you will be using in terms of testimonials? Would you give the contact details for them to reach out to you? So those are elements of the landing page optimization are posted in the form of different questions so that you can do that homework. And finally, there will be an element of how will you measure, because as I shared initially, you would need to have an end-to-end measurability in place to be able to see how you can make a difference in the overall ROI. So depending upon your measurability always connects to the objectives, because if your objective is lead generation, then you would want to see how many leads you generate, what is the quality of the lead, what is the cost of the lead, what are the different sources which have worked as a lead generation channel, and maybe finally offside you will have to track what are the conversions from those leads to attribute the quality of those leads, right? So what we'll do is we'll take 5 minutes for you to do this. If you have any question about this worksheet, I'll be happy to answer that now itself, and then we will get into an active Q&A. So let's take 5-7 minutes for you to apply the learning so far we've gone through, and probably in the real scenario of your own organization or the organization you're working for, right? So I'll wait for any questions you may have out of this, and we will then continue in a few minutes.
Okay, so I have shared the link of your worksheet in the chat. So those who want to download it, they can download it from that link. And we have already started, getting questions for you, Pradeep. So let's just give them 5 minutes so they can fill in the sheets, and then we can take it from there.
Sure, Priyanka. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
And also, as you're doing, one of the things you would want to see is Facebook ads, right? Now, what happens is, as I shared, Facebook allows you to do targeting. And by the way, there's a huge value of using Facebook ads without even running an ad. Because when you are creating an ad on Facebook, it gives you a lot of data without even spending a money. So if you go to facebook.com/ads/create, it will give you, first will ask you whether you want to run an ad to get fans or drive traffic to your website. So if you put, say, clicks to a website, I put the URL. After that, it will give you various options. So of course, ad title, ad image, ad copy are there, but after that is the targeting. So you can define age, you can define location, city-wise as well, gender, language, interest, as I shared. You can connections, advanced connections targeting. There are more advanced in terms of people who are connected to a degree of connection. That also is possible. More defined categories, as I shared, that's also possible. Job status, and then you can define your budget, total budget. You want to run a CPM campaign or a CPC campaign. All of that is possible. And while you're doing the targeting, what's very interesting is on the right-hand side, you will see what is the potential reach. That tells you roughly what is the number of people you can reach out to, or what is the universe of that, and that's a free media planning you can do. So this all happens without even you spending a rupee, without even you starting a campaign. So for example, the number of users on Facebook in India are over 96 million now, and you can target them when you say all men within 96 million. If you do that, you will see this number change. So 72 million out of 96 million is men. And if you want to find out how many people are above 25 years of age, you will be able to see that as well. So 30 million are above 25, and a lot of people think that Facebook has only youth, not enough people of senior positions are there. But let's check that out right now. So for example, I'm choosing 35 and above and men. So by the way, men was selected earlier. So there are 82 lakh people. So 8.2 million people are above 35 men. And if we take also more than 10 million people are above 35 years of age on Facebook. So that's a very, very relevant targeted audience you can reach out to. And I have seen even technology companies using Facebook ads for lead generation. Right? So all of you can do that yourself without even running an ad, and there's a lot of learning you will be able to acquire as you are in the process of creating Facebook ads. Priyanka, if you have any question related to strategy, if someone has asked, you can share that with me, and I'll wait for another minute and then we will move forward.
So far, I have not received a question for strategy, but I have another question for you. Let's give them another minute and see if they come up with more questions.
Sure. And guys, if you have any other question, because we'll directly from now will anyways get into Q&A. If you have any other question about not just this strategy exercise earlier as well, or maybe something else I might not have covered, I would be happy to attempt answering that as well. So any question you may have related to digital marketing in the context of you using that for growing your business, I'll be happy to take that up.
Well, thank you, Pradeep, for sharing your knowledge with us so freely. That was a great session and indeed a very interactive one. And I'm sure these guys have more questions about strategy and digital marketing in general. So you can the audience can please press the raise hand button on your control panel. So you can ask your question or you can type it in the chat box below. So I'm starting off with the question answer. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Yeah, Priyanka, can you just give me a few seconds? Yeah. So guys, feel free to reach out to me. You can write to me as well on my email. It's pradeep@digitalvidya.com. Otherwise, on social media, of course, I'm active. My Twitter handle is Pradeep Chopra. In case some of you are interested in really going deeper into your understanding to leverage digital marketing for your organization, would be great to have you be part of our trainings to very briefly share about you. We do two kinds of programs. One are instructor-led online courses, which are done through a support structure of an instructor. We do a 6 months long course like a digital marketing master course, or a 1 month modules which could be on social media, search engine marketing, web analytics, and others. So there are two upcoming courses, one 6 months, and actually there are 3 1-month courses which are possible. And then we have self-study certifications. If you want to use as a structure to self-study and get a certification, we have a tie-up with the Government of India initiative. That could be also of your interest. You can find all the details at digitalvidya.com. So that could be if you want to do that, we would be happy to support you in that. Yeah, sorry, Venkat, now you can have the people share their questions through chat, or they may want to speak out.
All right, no problem, Pradeep. Thank you for sharing the courses that you guys offer. Okay, so I'll just start by taking up the first question. We have a question by Prem. Prem's question is, how can you say that social media is separate in rankings while there is no, there are so many influencers like Neil and Danny who have already told that it's a matter in the rankings. I mean, I think he means to ask that rankings matter a lot. So what would you say to that?
Got it. So okay, got it. So thanks Prem for asking that question. By the way, when I had mentioned social media as a part of the slide, I'm assuming that you're talking of this slide. When I said social media, in a lot of ways, when it is about customer engagement, it's better done to target them on the medium itself. Now, I didn't say that social media doesn't impact ranking. Social media today, social signals is one of the key elements of Google's or even any other search engine algorithm, which Yahoo and Microsoft had also confirmed, to determine the rankings. So sharing of your content on social media, including on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, impacts your ranking. So I didn't say that, I never said that it doesn't impact. You're right, it impacts the rankings, and even for SEO today, you have to leverage social media. That's why, you know, the job of an SEO expert, the scope has expanded because a lot of other techniques of generating links earlier are no more useful, and the links shared on social media, especially when it's done by you know, authorities, makes a lot of difference, including Google Plus. Right? I hope Prem, it has clarified if you got some other communication earlier.
All right. Thank you, Pradeep, for answering the question. Prem, if you have more questions, you can please feel free to type in. We have another question by Prasanna, and he asks that he has 5,000 email IDs, and what would be the best marketing tool to acquire them?
Okay. So, Prasanna, thanks for asking that question. Emails are definitely, however complaining we are about spam, the fact is emails or email marketing has one of the highest ROIs. Now, one of the things which is very important is how you treat those. So one is, what is the source of email IDs? Is that a source which is, you know, an opt-in source? That means people had opted to receive communication from you, because the source of the database is one of the key determinants of the results you can expect. So that's one part. Now, second part is in terms of what is the communication you have and what is your plan for, you know, converting those emails to final customers. Now, a lot of people take an approach of a short-term approach where they say that these are the 5,000 email IDs and I want to convert them, and I will try out if, you know, how much I can convert in the next 1 week. So I will send 1 mailer, 2 mailer, 3 mailer, 4 mailers. Now, that approach may be useful and may work to a certain extent, but in my view, the real opportunity of email marketing is when you have a much long-term approach to nurture those. So that's where the, you know, tools and overall concept of lead nurturing comes to play. So you can use tools like, you know, customer.io on top of an email client, or otherwise even MailChimp can do. Then there's a company of MailChimp called Mandarin, which allows you to set drip email marketing campaigns. And some of these tools allow you to, you know, set parameters of their actions they take, and based on those actions, you change the campaign. So my recommendation to you is, when you're looking at converting those people from those mails to leads for a final sale, give a much broader view. Use tools like MailChimp, so that over a period of time you get much higher ROI. And even when you are sending an email, if your objective is lead generation, the concept of landing page really works. Rather than driving them from that email to a normal website, drive them to a separate landing page, because then from an email it converts to an active lead, which then can convert to a customer. So give a broad term view to look into how you can nurture them over a period of time, and use landing page optimization to increase the ROI. That is what I would recommend. I hope this might help.
Okay, thank you so much, Pradeep, once again for the fairly answered question. Mayank wants to ask a question. So Mayank, I would be unmuting you now and you can ask your question directly.
This is Mayank here. I'm working with the sales and marketing team in Srijan. So I had this question that where does marketing automation fall in context of digital marketing, and how do we go about it initially?
Great. Yeah, thanks for asking the question, Mayank. So marketing automation plays a lot of role, and especially I would say, you know, the whole area of lead nurturing. Of course, automation plays an end-to-end role, but a significant percentage of effort on marketing automation is around the nurturing aspect of that. So there are a number of softwares, number of tools, and of course HubSpot is the best company to learn from. They have a great product as well, though it's quite expensive. A lot of large brands have a very strong ROI of using that. So see, the whole opportunity is tools allow you to automate a lot of the stuff which otherwise is not even possible to do manually. Other than the amount of effort it would take to do manually, it is not possible to do everything. So marketing automation not just saves time and money in terms of the effort, but it increases the overall effectiveness because it allows you to do certain things which otherwise without automation are not possible. Second is they allow you to give a lot of visibility into the picture. And as I had shared earlier, end-to-end measurability is the key, because the final ROI of any digital marketing campaign is when you are able to meet the final objective. You may have done fantastic SEO work. You may have run Google Adwords campaign really well, but after the campaign, how much effective you are in terms of lead generation, and then from lead generation to final conversion will have far more impact into your final ROI than how great you have done on SEM campaign. So you might not have done best, you might not be running best Google AdWords campaign, but if you give a complete view about end-to-end, and that's where if you can use some of the tools, even you might not using a HubSpot to do end-to-end marketing automation, but some of the aspects if you do and you measure it, believe me, and we've been doing it, it's been a couple of years, and I would also say that it's a never-ending process. Every few months there is a next level of learning for us, which gives us the next level of growth, and that would allow you to think of a scale. So I think, of course, as you are largely into B2B space, so for you the volume is less, but the value is even more higher, and I'm sure like B2B companies have significantly used these tools, and many of our corporate customers for whom, a lot of technology companies for whom we have done trainings, have seen them using the tools to make a significant difference in their top line. Hope it helps, Prasanna. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pradeep. It helped a lot.
You're welcome, Mike.
Thank you again, Mayank, for asking the question, and thank you, Pradeep, for asking it so well, answering it so well. We have another question by Nikhil. He asked, Pradeep, do you think it's a bit more intrusive to actually follow the user, as in case of remarketing, when he has chosen not to use a particular service? These days, it has become too much intrusive, and you see ads on what you searched a day back. Do you not think it's kind of irritating?
Yeah, so absolutely. Say the clutter has increased, right? People are flooded with messages from multiple channels now. Emails, volume has increased, Facebook messages have increased, Twitter mentions have increased, LinkedIn messages have increased. So the importance of differentiating in terms of communication, knowing your customer so that you can be relevant, has significantly increased. And even if you're running email campaigns, while there are technical compliance issues anyways, but more than that, it's important that you treat your users, your prospects, your customers' decision with respect. So, at any point of time, someone said no to a service or even a content, you need to respect it. Though, in India, laws are not stringent, so and that's the reason why you would see more intrusion specifically over emails in India, even after people have unsubscribed. People, a lot of companies, I have seen media companies would use different lists. So they said that, you had unsubscribed to that now, but you're part of this. So my view is, you lose much more than intrusively, repeatedly reaching out to people who have said no, versus you respecting them. And then see, you don't know. I've seen examples where people unsubscribed from our mailers, and then there was something else interesting, and then they became customer. And at the same time, for any even technical reason, we could not have their unsubscription request be fulfilled, and then they complained. And it's really bad if they complain in public. So I completely agree. While you do automation, while you look into end-to-end, you do series of mailers, it is very, very important that your users have a choice to move out of that process of communication which they are not interested in.
Okay, very well answered, Pradeep. Thank you. And thank you, Nikhil, for your question. We have another question by Sri Rupa. She is asking, you only speak about the advantages of digital marketing. What are the disadvantages and how to cope up with them?
Okay, great. So interesting question. What are the disadvantages? Okay. Say for a lot of brands like which want to reach out to a target audience like which is in rural, for example. So one of the disadvantages of digital marketing is it doesn't allow you to reach out to everyone. Even today, SMS, of course, other than the offline, in online world, SMS works far more better there. And that's the reason why the companies would continue to spend on other mediums outside of digital, because it doesn't have a reach for that specific target audience. So that's one. Second is, I would say digital is not used well. The disadvantage is people think that they're doing right, they think that they know it all, and then they continue to invest. We have made over last 13 years, we have made multiple mistakes. We have literally lost lakhs of rupees in advertising without producing results. And the reasons could be, you are not measuring well. For example, a lot of companies do great amount of advertising for lead generation, and they generate an enormous amount of leads. They do even landing page optimization there. But the final sale happen outside the lead, and that is not tracked. So they have continued to invest in generating leads, but the quality of leads was poor. So while this medium offers end-to-end measurability, to some, if you use it partially, you end up misleading yourself. So that's the second aspect. Third is even measurability is oversold. So that's, I would say, a disadvantage in the sense that now given you can measure everything, if you go to a boss or if an agency go to a client, they would demand that if you can prove everything, only then we'll invest. And what happens is actually you don't end up using digital marketing. So it's a disadvantage in the sense that given measurability is over expected, and realistically it's not that you can always have 100% measurability, you end up not doing it. Which in case of other forms of marketing, you don't ask those questions. People spend tons of money on print, radio, TV, and with not even 10% measurability, you can continue to increase your budget. So that's another aspect which I've experienced over the last 13 years, being at all sides of, as a user, as an agency owner earlier, and now as an educator. So I think that's another. Of course, then there is no end to how much data you have. People spend too much time in creating reports and then not using it. So I think simplification is important, scale is important. And if you don't do that, you may be misleading yourself. You may be able to justify someone else, but finally not getting the ROI. Like fundamentally, as I shared, giving a very limited view of digital when you only focus on increasing traffic. So you may have done, world's best SEO to increase traffic, but if that traffic doesn't convert, all the effort of, creating that content to generate that much organic traffic doesn't finally produce results. So that's, I think, another view is you don't look into end-to-end, and that's how you miss out the full picture. I hope it helps.
Okay, very well answered, Pradeep. Thank you so much. I would like to ask one question. Do you think there are alternatives to HubSpot for startups? Because they can't afford a plan of, $500 to $1,000 a month. So is there, an alternative to that?
Yeah, so I think one is they have, so earlier it was even far more expensive. Now they have lesser, cost versions of that, but still it's expensive. So that's why, as I shared earlier, you should look into, other platforms. And it depends upon the objective. You may, for example, if it is lead nurturing is what you want to automate, you would probably consider using if you want to have repeated conversations to a subscriber base, like newsletter if you want to run, then it makes sense to use platforms like MailChimp, or even a better version, far more cost-effective version is Mandarin, which is also a company of MailChimp. So, in terms of drip email marketing tools, you can use separately. For most of the companies, Google Analytics can do a significant percentage of analytics part. And so you don't, and most of us don't run very, very extensive campaigns. So there is no need of very exhaustive campaign management. Google Adwords, if you're running, the Adwords Manager itself is a great tool to manage campaigns and still saves time. So I think depends upon where your focus is. Free tools to very less expensive tools like Mandarin can take care of the jobs of startups like us, and that's what makes sense to go with.
All right, thank you so much once again. Before we end this webinar, I would just like to know if there are a few tips, or quick pointers that you would like to share with us. So, before we create the digital strategies for our companies that we're working in or our own enterprises, are there some things that we should keep in mind?
Sure, Priyanka. So as I shared, which is the theme of my session as well today, is whenever you're looking at doing digital marketing, don't just have a limited view. Don't just look at increasing traffic as our only objective of search engine optimization. You need to begin with what's your final objective. If you're an e-commerce company, your final objective could be, finally sales. If you are a product or services companies, your objective could be lead generation. So based on your objective, what you need to do before you get into your journey of digital marketing is see what are different phases of your customer acquisition and define various metrics to measure that. Because believe me, you may have not done great SEO, you may not have done great SEM, and still you may have multiple times ROI compared to someone who has done multiple times better SEO or SEM than you, because you looked into the final conversion piece. So that's, I think, one aspect which is important. Second is, like advertising, you may not need content, but when it comes to social media or content marketing, inbound marketing, or definitely search, content is underestimated. The quality of content is underestimated. What HubSpot is today is because of the investment, incredible investment they have continuously done over years in creating some great content. So that's my second aspect, and I've seen a lot of companies underestimating the importance of content. And third is have measurability in place. At the same time, tools will not be able to do everything for you. You will have to make some intuitive calls. You will have to do something outside of tools as well. So it may require your sales team, like we are into trainings, right? Most of our customers, or a significant percentage of customers, don't register for our course without speaking to us. So largely 90% of the cases we generate leads. Now a lead to a sale happens over chat, phone or email. And that conversion, if it is not dragged back to the CRM, we don't get to know which of the campaigns is performing. Is it an internal email or an external email or a SEO or an SEM or a social media or something else? So it requires you to integrate into other pieces, especially CRM. Your sales team needs to be educated about the importance of tracking the lead source, putting that in a CRM, because then you would be able to make those intelligent decisions. So I think from my experience, those are some of the key elements which makes a lot of difference in your final results of digital marketing campaigns. Hope it helps, Priyanka.
Yes, thank you so much. Very well, stated. You've very well stated the point. Since we are running short on time here, I would just like to request all those who still have questions to please mail them at webinars@srijan.in. And thank you, Pradeep, once again. We are very sure that everyone found your presentation interesting and insightful. Thank you everyone for joining us in this webinar. I would also like to announce that our next webinar is on what all it takes to scale Agile, by Srijan Vasishta on 19th of February. Srikanth is an enterprise agile coach, IT strategist, and a trainer. For registrations, you will be getting a mail from our site, or you can directly register at Srijan's website. So have a great day, guys, and thank you for joining us once again.
Thanks everyone, and thanks Priyanka for inviting me.
All right, thank you.